Lafferty Gardens. It has been a while, but it has been an incredibly busy and productive summer. We have been pumping out the veggies here, which is probably the most exciting thing about having a little garden and homestead. But today I want to talk to you about tomatoes. I have had a few messages about how we are getting so many tomatoes in the Adelaide Hills, and we are probably picking for at least the last 3-4 weeks about 1 kilogram to 2 kilograms every single day of tomatoes. Not to flex, but we're doing good, we're doing something right. So this is our tomato setup. Julian's built a really nice frame here, which we can grow our tomatoes up. Now, first thing you need to be aware of, if you're not already, there are two types of tomatoes. There's indeterminate and determinate. And what that means is indeterminate, they are growing plants, or they are a vining plant that will continue to grow and fruit through the season. So they don't really have a max until they're dead. So a lot of these we got a bit muddled up, and I'm not too sure of the varieties, but we treated most of these as indeterminate. So we used a little piece of twine actually, and then we tied it to this metal grid up the top, and at the bottom we've just got a little tent peg, and then we just use that. So a little bit of twine, poked it into the soil, and then we use little plastic clips just to keep the plant attached to the twine, and then it just grew up. The second type of tomato is a determinate variety, and those plants are bushy. They grow to a maximum mature height, and then they will start to fruit all at once. They don't continue to grow, they will stay around that size, and it's just a big bloom of fruit, and then they're pretty much done. The indeterminates will just keep giving, keep giving. So we actually started these plants inside in a tray, so a growing tray, and we probably started it the middle to the end of winter, so it would have been around August time. I reckon the start of August we started growing these tomatoes. So in the Adelaide Hills, it does extend, winter does extend into spring, and even those spring days, the nights and the mornings are really frosty, and your seeds aren't going to like it. It's going to stunt the plant. So we keep them inside until they're about 10 centimeters high. They've got about 4 to 6 leaves, and then we'll bring them out and plant them into our beds, which we have prepared with nice rich organic matter, a lot of compost turned through, and then we'll put them in the ground. And even so, for the first month, so September, we'll cover them with a polytunnel. So just one of those accordion ones I've shown you before. We'll actually put that on top of the tomato seedlings to protect them from any frost, because frost, they're very juicy plants and they can quite easily get damaged by frost. And with saying that, with tomato seedlings, so if you don't want to start your own from seed, or even if you do and you have your seedlings, or you buy your seedlings from the store, be very careful of your tomato seedling stems. Being very juicy plants, they do bruise easily, and you can crush the structure and then they die because they have no way of moving the water through the roots up the plant itself. So be very careful, treat them delicately, don't go crazy grabbing the roots and tangling them all up, and plant deeply. So if you notice a tomato stem, it has little hairs on them. If you plant your plant maybe 1/3 of your seedling deep, that will actually increase the root growth, or the root zone, and it will start growing out roots from all of that stem that you've planted underneath. So your plant has a lot more ability to suck up a lot more water and nutrients, and it gives it a really strong, sturdy structure when they get to 2 meters high. Saying that, give them support. It doesn't have to be wildly chaotic like this. But I really rate this system. Julian came up with it, and it was super cheap. We got all this timber second hand from a recycled timber yard, and then it's literally twine tied to the metal grid up the top with the tent pegs and little plastic grips. I don't like using plastic, but little plastic grips that we will reuse for many years, so we're not going to just chuck them out after a single use. Another option is just having a like a bamboo stake little tripod, and then allowing your plant to grow up in within that. You can get plastic grids that you can change the formation from a square to a triangle in Bunnings as well, or literally a metal fence like this or a bamboo fence up against it, and you kind of grow them against the wall. That's another option, but this is what we've done and it's worked really well. Now with this, you might notice that they're a bit straggly looking, but that's the idea of it. So first thing you want to do is when they get to a relatively decent size, you want to always water the base of the plant. You don't want to be spraying water all over the leaves. So bring your hose right down near the root zone, give it water from there. The reason that tomatoes are so prone to fungal infections is the splashback from the hose or the water from the mud onto the leaves, and that transfer is going to cause all your fungal infections. So get really down low. Once your plant has several leaves, you want to actually start cutting those bottom leaves off and get rid of them. So maybe the first 30 centimeters of leaves you should just remove. And another thing you want to do with your tomatoes is remove the suckers. So tomatoes will grow, let me try and do this as well as my body allows me to, like this. You want to cut off this sucker. So you only have your main leading stem and then your fruiting stem, and get rid of this one. So it's always at like a little 45-degree angle, just cut them off. That literally suckers things. It won't give you fruit, so just snip them off and all that energy will go back into your tomatoes, actually giving you the fruit that you want. Make sure you are watering them consistently. I water them every day, and if it's a really hot day over say 30, 32, I'll give them 2 watering days. You do want to aim for it to be quite early in the morning, so before the heat's even got to the plant, so at least before 9 a.m. if you can, if not before midday. You can water in the evening. It's not desirable though, because then your plants aren't taking up the water when they need it, and then it gets colder after night and you can lead to fungal infections because it's not evaporating properly. And yeah, I would stick to watering in the mornings and water consistently. So do it every day or every 2 days, so your plant's expecting it, rather than give it a water here in the morning, give it a water there in the afternoon, give it a water there at night time. Like, you want to stay really consistent and don't over water them. So have that free draining water. If you're planting tomatoes in a pot, make sure you do have proper holes and it's allowing that water to drain out and not stay stagnant and boggy. A lot of tomato splitting will happen from inconsistent watering, whether that be overwatering or just inconsistency, missing days every now and then. So really can stay consistent with that. And then mulch. We want to keep that water, that sacred Australian water, in the ground. So a nice thick layer of mulch. It keeps that soil at a consistent-ish temperature. So when it's really cold, it's going to insulate the soil, and when it's really hot, it's going to protect that soil from drying out, keeping them microorganisms in the soil healthy. Now, with fertilizing, we will liquid fertilizer once every week to 2 weeks. I like to do it weekly, but you know, life gets ahead of us sometimes. Oh, my neighbours are being seriously noisy, so I hope this video is okay. But yeah, liquid fertilizer, I can't remember the name of what we use. Power feed. So we use power feed every 1 to 2 weeks, and we'll use a soil conditioner like Sea Mungus, any seaweed solution, but Sea Mungus is definitely my go-to. Tomatoes like potassium or potash, so we actually will bring some of our potash from the fireplace and sprinkle it over. We also give the tomatoes some slow release fertilizer, maybe every 2 to 3 months. We scatter some of that over there. And we also put dried eggshells, so add some calcium back in there just to give it some strength. And yeah, so our varieties here, I have lost count to be honest, because that's what happens. But we've got a few red cherry tomatoes, some yellow cherry tomatoes that I believe are called honeybee or honey gold, which have been prolific. We've got some beef tomatoes, we've got Roma tomatoes, and yeah, we've been absolutely pumping them out, and it's given me so much joy. I've made, oh gosh, what have I made? I have just done whole peeled tomatoes because I use that a lot. I've done a lot of pasta sauces, pizza sauces, salsas, chutneys, passata tomato paste, which I did 2 kilograms of tomatoes, which turned into a tiny little 100 ml jar of paste. So that is, it makes you really realize what goes into your food and appreciate it that little bit more. But if you have any questions or anything else you'd like to add to this video, I'd love to hear it from you. Share your pictures, share what you've done with your tomatoes, and if you're in Adelaide Hills, you're always welcome to pop over and see what we're doing here at Lafferty Gardens. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a great day. Bye!